Hello, I'm Dennis Bonilla, Dean of the Global M3 Academy at Wiley. Today, I'm here to reveal some of the results of a recent survey conducted by the M3 on diversity in technology and its role in driving and achieving future equality. Also joining me later in the presentation will be Shana Smith, a recent M3 Academy alumni and currently working as a production support analyst at a major financial institution. I'm going to start sharing my screen. Today, we will cover some of the key highlights and takeaways from the report, specifically focusing on why tech diversity and equality go hand in hand. What is really behind the shortage of diverse candidates? What could we all, as individuals, businesses, and educational institutions, be doing better? And finally, we will then conduct an interview with Shana to hear firsthand the story behind her journey that has resulted in employment in an important entry-level tech role at a renowned financial institution. There's no topic in education and business today bigger and more broadly debated than the shortage of talent to fill the skills gap. Catherine Switzer, the first woman to run the Boston Marathon and co-founder of 261 Fearless, which is a global network for women around the world to connect, support, and inspire one another through running, couldn't have stated any better when she said, "Talent is everywhere. It only needs an opportunity." Let me repeat that. Talent is everywhere. It only needs an opportunity. Let's explore that statement in the context of this report. Diversity is not just gender and ethnicity. Those are some of the attributes of internal diversity, along with age, race, national origins, sexual orientation, cultural identity, and physical and mental abilities. Diversity also encompasses external diversity characteristics, such as personal interests, appearance, location, life experience, and many other factors identified on the slide. There is also organizational diversity, such as job function, place of work, employment status, seniority, etc. And finally, diversity of worldviews, which encompass political beliefs, moral compass, outlook on life, and epistemology, the investigations of what distinguishes justified belief from opinion. In this report, we have principally focused on the key demographics of age, race, and ethnicity, and its impact on diverse technology employment for emerging talent. The lack of diversity in tech is widely reported, with many shocking statistics revealing the extent of the problem. The Workforce Management estimates that companies spend $8 billion a year collectively on diversity and inclusion training. The pace of progress is far too slow and sometimes feels like it's going in reverse. This suggests a further need to engage the right people within companies to implement new practices, and a continuing need to better understand the root causes of the problem. Encouraging a wider range of young people to consider careers in tech is critical to achieving greater equality in society, particularly as we look towards a future where it is predicted that 45 million Americans would lose their jobs to automation by 2030. Unfortunately, the COVID-19 pandemic only exacerbated income inequality in the US and globally. The combined wealth of all US billionaires increased by $1.138 trillion between March 18, 2020 and January 18, 2021, whereas the lowest income group had the highest job loss rate between February 1st, 2020 and at the end of June 2020. While the highest income workers had the lowest job loss rate during this period. To determine the barriers preventing a broader range of young people from pursuing a career in technology, M3 surveyed 2,030 18 to 20-year-olds to find out how attitudes towards tech and knowledge of the career opportunities in the industry differ across various demographic groups. In addition, M3 surveyed 270 senior business leaders in key industries, including financial services, insurance, and healthcare, to determine hiring plans for 2021 and beyond, including what is currently being done to actively improve diversity in their tech teams and to identify where more work is still required. This report provides some key insights, findings, and recommendations on both the opportunity in this growth field, as well as the causes behind the lack of diversity in workforces. Key data point: 69% of young tech workers have felt uncomfortable in the job market because of their diversity. Think about that. Let's examine what we found out is going on. Security in the face of instability. 2020 was a devastating year in many ways, especially for employment. Young people in the US were hit particularly hard by COVID-19 job losses. It found that the overall unemployment rate for young workers aged 16 to 24 jumped from 8.4% to 24.4% from spring 2019 to spring 2020. Spring 2020 unemployment rates were even higher for young Black, Hispanic, and Asian American Pacific Islander workers. Although younger workers experienced disproportionate job loss in part because of their concentration in the hardest hit industries and occupations, leisure and hospitality, the picture was also bleak for recent college graduates. In October 2020, just 69% of adults ages 20 to 29 who had graduated from college with a bachelor's degree or higher during the previous spring were employed, lower than the share of 2019 graduates who were employed in October of that year, which was 78%. The labor force participation rate for recent college graduates also dropped from 86% to 79% during this one-year period. According to a summer 2020 YouGov poll, a majority of business leaders recruiting students slowed or halted college hiring following the outbreak of the coronavirus. As of May 2020, the number of entry-level job openings, which are typically filled by recent college grads, fell by 73%, with internship opportunities taking a similar dive. A recent Monster poll found that 45% of 2020 college graduates are still looking for a permanent job. However, our survey of business leaders painted an altogether more promising picture when it comes to entry-level and graduate technology recruitment. More than 3/4 of businesses continued hiring for entry-level and graduate tech roles from March 2020 to March 2021. Of those, 40% continued hiring at the same level as usual, and 28% at a slightly reduced rate. Looking ahead, 89% of businesses surveyed confirmed that they are currently planning to recruit for entry-level and graduate tech roles over the next year, with 60% of those planning to do so at the level they usually would, and 22% at a slightly reduced number. This indicates the prospects for young people within the technology industry in the coming months are still excellent. Given that research published by the National Academy of Sciences shows the COVID-19 pandemic exacerbated existing inequalities in the US, it's essential we ensure a broad cross-section of young people are able to benefit from the opportunities offered by careers in technology, as this can make a huge difference to the long-term prosperity of different minority groups. In order to successfully tackle the lack of diversity in tech roles, it's essential to establish the root causes of the problem. If there is a lack of diverse candidates applying for roles, then we must look at why this is the case and at what point certain demographics become more likely to consider technology as a potential career path, ideally to allow for informed decisions regarding their higher education. Without this encouragement, they may later lack the STEM-based qualifications required by a lot of entry-level roles if they choose to pursue a career in the field. But have high schools and colleges been doing their part to educate their students in this regard? And do all students feel equally well informed? 38% of 18 to 28-year-olds were never given any information about tech careers in high school or college. Think about that, 38%. 42% feel they were encouraged to consider a career in technology or IT by their high school. Disappointingly, this figure drops to 39% of females compared with 47% of males. In addition, 44% of female respondents said that they were never given any information or resources to help them learn about tech career opportunities, compared with 33% of males. With such a persistent lack of gender diversity in the tech industry and women's job prospects disproportionately impacted by the pandemic, we must ensure that male and female students are treated equally, right from the beginning of their education, if we are to address these imbalances in the long term. There is less of a clear-cut difference between ethnic groups in this respect. The research found that 41% of white, 41% of Asian and Pacific Islander, 46% of Black and African American, and 44% of Hispanic or Latino respondents were given information regarding careers in tech and IT by their high school. This would suggest that in a lot of cases, ethnicity does not have a significant impact on the likelihood that a young person will be encouraged to pursue a career in technology while at high school. The survey also makes it clear that the level of information provided by educational institutions drops as students progress. While 42% of those surveyed felt that their high school offered encouragement, only 26% said the same of their college. The gender differences do become significantly less pronounced in the later stages of education, with 29% of males encouraged by their college compared with 25% of females. This is likely because by this point, students will have begun to make choices regarding subjects which will lead professors and career advisors to naturally push them towards different careers, regardless of their gender. It's evident from this research that an important element in the journey towards diversity will be providing students with more information regarding tech jobs from a much younger age, and ensuring that pupils of every gender, ethnicity, and socioeconomic background are given equal opportunities and encouragement to learn about the different technology career paths and the qualifications they'll need to get there. There are many perceptions and misconceptions. Having established the reasons some people from underrepresented groups do pursue a career in technology, it's also key to understand why significantly more do not. How do young people outside of the industry feel about careers in technology? And do certain minority groups have particular misconceptions about tech jobs that are preventing them from exploring the possibilities it offers? According to the research, a little over half of 18 to 20-year-olds who are not currently working in tech believe it offers a wide range of career choices. And 43% do not believe that it currently provides excellent career opportunities. Meanwhile, only a third think that careers in technology are likely to be amongst the most future-proof. 14% stated they wish they decided to pursue a career in technology, and 13% would still like to. However, more than 1 in 10 of those surveys said that they don't know anything about careers in technology. When looking specifically at respondents that are non-white identifying, this number rises to 17%, saying they didn't know anything about careers in technology, showing that significantly more needs to be done to educate young people about their different career options. The results also showed some differences between males and females' perceptions of careers in technology. Interestingly, while women are underrepresented in tech, they are 10% more likely to think the industry offers a wide range of career opportunities, 7% more likely to think it currently offers excellent career opportunities, and 3% more likely to think that careers in tech are some of the most future-proof. 14% of both males and females said that they wish they pursued a career in technology, while 16% of males surveyed stated that they would still like to pursue a career in the industry, compared to just 11% of females. This suggests that while awareness of the opportunities offered by careers in technology is generally quite low, it is not a lack of awareness that is specifically preventing more women from following this path. So we explored other perceived barriers to entry that are potentially fueling tech's diversity problem. When it comes to the reasons deterring young people from pursuing a career in technology, nearly half are worried about not having the right qualifications. 31% believe that they don't have the right educational background, and 31% don't know anything about the different technology jobs that are available. When looking at only female identifying respondents, we see increases to 48% are worried about not having the right qualifications, 33% believe they don't have the right educational background, and 32% don't know anything about the different technology jobs that are available. Females are more likely to have doubts about their skills and expertise than males, with 48% worried about their qualifications compared to 43% of males. 31% concerned that they are not good enough at math and science, compared with 18%. And 33% worried that they don't have the right educational background, compared with 24%. These fears are echoed by other minority groups, with 40% of Asian respondents, 27% of Black or African American, and 20% of Hispanic or Latino respondents worried that the industry is not ethnically diverse enough. These statistics show there is work to be done to change the reputation of the tech industry amongst different groups of young people, with many deterred from pursuing job opportunities as a result of their preconceptions. But are these preconceptions justified? In order to find out, we asked the selection of 18 to 20-year-old technology workers about their experiences in the industry so far. Encouragingly, our research revealed that 69% of those surveyed had an overall positive experience. 38% stated that their experience was entirely positive, 31% mostly positive, and 26% a mixture of positive and negative. However, it also showed that experiences differ between demographics. 77% of white respondents said that their experience so far had been mostly or entirely positive, compared with 66% of Asian, 63% of Black or African American, and 64% of Hispanic or Latino respondents. However, 82% of young female Black African American tech workers have felt uncomfortable because of their diversity. The research suggests that the biggest issue for many businesses is that they are still struggling to establish an inclusive, welcoming environment. Only 20% of those surveys said that they liked their company culture, and only a quarter felt welcomed by their colleagues. A significant portion of all surveyed said they believe people from minority backgrounds are discriminated against in the recruitment process for technology jobs. Interestingly, this number was relatively consistent across the different demographics, which would imply that it is a problem that is apparent to many of those in the industry, not just those who are discriminated against as one might expect. The extent of the lack of diversity in tech is widely publicized and discussed, and yet despite this attention, diversity remains a key challenge for businesses, with only 30% of the US tech force identifying as Black, Asian, or Hispanic, and gender diversity currently sitting at around 25%, compared with 47% for all other jobs. But has this attention translated into action? The persistent lack of diversity in the industry would suggest that current efforts to tackle the problem are not sufficient, despite many businesses believing they are already addressing the issue, suggesting that many are still failing to take it as seriously as they should. 51% struggle to recruit diverse entry-level tech talent. 68% feel there is a lack of diversity in their tech workforce. 45% are yet to invest in anti-bias training for hiring managers, and 54% aren't trying to address a lack of diversity in their tech teams. According to the research, the majority of businesses have trouble recruiting diverse tech talent at every level. Only 24% said they have no difficulties at all. However, it's clear that diverse entry-level talent is the most difficult to find. And yet, despite a definite awareness of the problem, the survey also revealed that many businesses are still recruiting entry-level talent from a very narrow pool of talent. Of those surveyed, only 24% said that they consider applications from all universities equally, with even fewer stating that they consider all types of higher education qualifications. In order to achieve greater diversity at a junior level, businesses must actively work to widen their talent pool, publicizing their roles to a wider variety of people and encouraging them to apply. They must take a close look at their recruitment process to ensure that unconscious bias is not causing young people to miss out on opportunities they would be well qualified for. So what are some actions for corporations struggling to build a diverse workforce? First, create an environment where diverse young people feel included. While there are certainly some negative perceptions of the industry amongst some demographics, it's also apparent that these are not all unjustified. Many of those who have already started working in the industry found their experience not entirely positive. Businesses need to do more to fix this, or they will never be able to make any real improvement when it comes to improving diversity. By working to develop an inclusive and welcoming company culture, coupled with more widespread implementation of anti-bias hiring practices, we should start to see positive changes that will ultimately make a big difference to the long-term prospects of many ambitious, diverse young people and go a long way to improving equality in our society. Actively widen your talent pool. Focus on bridging that gap between college and career. The majority of business surveyed that they said they have trouble recruiting diverse tech talent at the entry level. In order to achieve greater diversity, businesses must actively work to widen their talent pool and do it to a wider variety of people and encouraging them to apply. Start considering partnering with less obvious colleges, attending a greater number of university job fairs, as well as paying more attention to job fairs and other events aimed at non-graduates. This can expand the demographics businesses that they reach out and get diverse workers in high demand, high powered tech jobs faster. Weed out unconscious bias. Companies that prioritize and invest in unconscious bias training will win. Companies must take a close look at their recruitment process to ensure unconscious bias is not causing young people to miss out on opportunities for which they would be well qualified. Something as simple as anonymizing resumes to remove all potential identifying information, such as name, age, and educational background, ensures candidates are judged based on qualifications and experience only. In addition, companies should use neutral job descriptions and carefully select words to avoid deterring candidates from applying. This can help companies immediately build a more diverse talent pipeline and workforce. A focus on credentialing and reskilling removes concerns over education background from candidates and therefore expands the candidate pool. Connect education to the working world. Develop and teach relevant and agile technology curriculum in college. Focus on the real world of work with ample experiential learning opportunities. You can combine this with apprenticeships and on-the-job training, and these can be an asset to attract next generation workers looking for best places to learn, not just best places to work. Offer mentorship programs for entry-level employees to support personal and professional development. This provides a support system to identify whether additional resources are needed for entry-level employees from different backgrounds. Obviously at M3, we are focused on this challenge and helping our clients drive better diversity and custom train them the skills you need so that we get them into that last mile before they start their job. We access the next generation of diverse IT talent. This last year, we've had over 1,000 alumni graduate, careers launch. 90% of them convert to full-time employees with the clients. We're active over 4 continents. Our diversity numbers are really, really, really impressive. 46% minority and 35% female, much, much, much higher than the average in the industry. We have over 400 plus university partners. We're part of the Wiley group, which is highly committed to diversity, equity, inclusion. And we find young junior talent who can make an impact. and we currently have 25 plus global enterprise clients. But, you know, it all stems, and you can believe it when you hear the alumni success stories. On the screen, there are, you know, 4 alumni that have generously granted a quotation around their experience. But, you know, at the end of the day, you know, it's best to sort of, let's talk to somebody live and real and really see what their opportunity has been. So I'm going to stop the screen share, and we're going to have a little interview with Shana Smith. Hopefully Shana's on the screen. Hi, Shana, how are you?
Hi, how are you?
So I talked a lot there, and I know that you probably resonated with many of the highlights and points and findings that I sort of talked about. But I think if we could just have a short conversation around, you know, because you're a recent alumni, a recent entry into the tech force, working at a great financial institution. And obviously, based on your background, your current location is not the worst in the world. So I'm a little jealous. You have water, I have desert. But can you talk a little bit, you know, how and why did you get into tech? You know, what was that journey and decision making like?
Well, the reason why I got into this field was a couple different things. My background was based on, you know, I had a bachelor's in fashion design and marketing. And I went out, you know, after I graduated from my bachelor's, I went out and tried to pursue that career, you know, fashion design and marketing. And of course, just like every other bachelor's or different things, you kind of don't, you know, you don't get into that exact field. So what happened was I started taking different jobs, different opportunities, you know, that acquired a bachelor's degree, which were like third-party collections, you know, call center jobs, customer service, and even, you know, now, you know, before I came here it was healthcare. And even though those jobs were, you know, sufficient in what I needed because I'm a single mother, it wasn't something I would say like the end all or something that I can continue with. Meaning that, you know, it was just a stepping stone to get somewhere, you know, prominent for, you know, for my family. So, you know, these were stepping stone type of jobs. I wouldn't say dead end, but there were some things that I was able to build my character. I was able to build my I would say my work, my skills and different skill sets that you do need to have. So after that, I decided to go back to school because the salary wasn't able to meet, you know, my means of, you know, financially sustaining my household. So anyway, I went back to school, got my master's in computer information science. I thought that would be the best because I like computers. I'm interested in computers. My family and friends, they always dote on me on knowing technology and working out different fixes and codes and different things on their devices and that type of thing. So I was like, well, maybe this is something that I would be more interested in. You know, maybe this is, you know, a niche. And, you know, and what's trending out there is, you know, is that technology type of thing. So that's where I went for a master's. Where I came about with M3 was that my last year, which was last year, I graduated at the end of July. They were promoting a career fair. The career fair led me to M3 because there was a recruiter out there saying they would train, they will do job placement, they will do this and that and third, you know, data science, you know, AD, all this kind of stuff, production support analysts, production management. And at that point in time, I was a group, a part of the group of, PMI, that organization. So it was, I said, well, this would pretty much work for me, So yeah, so then I was like, okay, well, let's see what's going on with that. And due to COVID, of course, everything was virtual, even my graduation was virtual. So I signed up for it. I looked at whoever was out there, and I saw mthree, and they had a recruiter. She took my information, I took her information, and then she said to send my resume. So I did. A couple of weeks after that, it was me getting with HR, talking to them, explaining to them like how I want to get into this. And no way of type, I didn't have anything on my resume that said IT. There was no data science, there was no, engineering, there was nothing other than the previous jobs that I worked before. And to that, it was, for me, to say, can I do this or can I not, and I was like, I can do this. And, I just want to get my foot into the door, somebody give me a chance. So at the end of the summer, in September, they called me. The HR did, and he worked with me the best way he did. And he said, Shayna, would you like to do our training course? This is our alumni program. This is what it has in store for you. This, that, and third, SQL, Java, this, that. And I said, yeah, all day, I'm going to do it. And I had to do my information. And from there, when I started with the training program, there were interviews. There were interviews with a lot of investment banking companies there, and then, it just steamrolled into this whole thing of me being a production support analyst and being in IT. So I took it on.
So, what a fabulous journey, Shane. I mean, you had confidence in yourself, you had that grit, you had that resilience, you didn't give up, you kept looking for opportunities. In what ways would you say that this mthree experience, this new role, has impacted and changed your life from what it was before?
I think if without mthree, I wouldn't be able to get in the door. Yet a phone call from what my resume looked like. Like, to be honest, like my resume was all consumed up of customer service, financial banking, a little bit of, this and that, but it wasn't like I said, like a good remedy or thing for somebody to look at and say, hey, she would be great for IT or anything like that. I didn't have it. mthree helped me to train, to learn. They had these training classes that were relentless. They were really hard, but for somebody, a beginner like me, to be in a classroom full of people that either had it or didn't have it, but we're going to be trained on the basics of knowing what it is. And then not only that, it was kind of the hand holding when it came to the interviews. Hey, you have an interview this week. I had an interview every week that I was in training. So that was like, oh, you have an interview? Let's review. Let's prepare. Let's, do, ad hoc of type of interviewing that would cost for Morgan Stanley, for JP Morgan Chase, for any type of investment banking or any other company that we have on our roster, because, we want you to be successful. Even that, and, anything that came up during my training, it was handled by the trainers or anything like that. So, and then networking with other people who had interviewed with the same type of people, like, we were all in this pool of being interviewed. and they seen our stuff and stuff like that. So they would tell me like, oh, this person, you know, go this way, or, or say this, or, reach out this way, and how to present myself. I think the most important things that we don't know is like how to present herself in front of a Fortune 500 company, and not being intimidated or not being so like closed in, but yet not showing so much of ourselves. I think, keep it in perspective of what they want from their employee, and what you want from an employer is very good in an initial state of interviewing, making sure that you want this from this particular company, also that they want that from you, or what they can get from you, for a particular company. So it's always is a conversation. It's not necessarily an interview or a resume or checking points off a board. It's more so that can we communicate? Can we drive with this? Can I give this person a chance? And what MThree has given me is a chance.
It goes back to that, the quote at the beginning of the presentation where, talent is everywhere, but you have to provide opportunity, right? So, yeah, and I'm sure that there's been benefits associated with compensation and career track and how you're progressing in your current role. Do you think that these kind of programs will help sort of even out and balance out this inequity and this lack of diversity across the industry? If more people adopted this sort of attitude of opening up the pool and focusing more on, qualifications versus, college credentials, do you think it'll help in the long run? I mean, how do you feel at your current job, and do you feel like you're on a great track to be seen as, see your potential and be rewarded for your performance?
I think it's a great opportunity. I wouldn't say it wasn't. I think that if I decided to go on my own, go rogue and put my resume in front of them before I met M3, I wouldn't even get a call back. I think that, if you take the time out to, and it was hard for me to do so, taking the time out to go and get a second education on top of everything that I already been educated on. It was very hard, working a 40+ job, in healthcare, then, having a small one at home, my daughter, and working that work-life balance that we try to always have. It wasn't possible. And then on the side of that, late at night, it was school, I think that M3 put me in a place, or gave me that opportunity to speak to some of these people that I necessarily wouldn't be able to if it was just on me. But they coached me, they trained me, and they guided me to these certain resources that I took the opportunity of grasping onto. Because, in a way, this was, my goal. This was what I wanted to do. So I needed to take that chance. And these companies are taking a chance, and they're putting themselves out there for M3 to say, hey, this is somebody who's for you, who's going to work for you and do so, and this and third. So I'm grateful for the chances that I got with M3. I wouldn't say they you can only make things work for you however you want them to work. If they don't work for you, then you're not necessarily working for it, like that type of thing. Like, it's gonna work as much as you work for it. But there was not that much work other than, just me speaking out and saying like, hey, I think I stumbled on this type of factor with, with this company, or can you help me in interviewing, or can you help me with my sequel? Can you help me with certain techniques? And it's just reaching out to people and just networking and knowing who who to go to, your resources always.
So, Shana, thank you for your candid insights and sharing your journey. I'm sure that people listening on this call are jotting down saying, why can't we have her working for us? That's the kind of candidate I'm looking for. I mean, you have that grit, that sort of, I'm juggling a million things, right? Single mom, I got jobs, I'm trying to better my career, I'm young, there's discrimination, there's bias, there's all this, and yet you have shown a spotlight of success that I think will inspire many, many, many more to sort of, not be afraid to take on those challenges and not be afraid to get a good opportunity in the tech world. And again, thank you for your journey and your story. It's very impressive. And I'm sure there's people saying, how do I get hold of Shana? I want to go coach her. Anyway, thank you very much. And thank you for those of you attending the session. I think we're going to have a live Q&A after the session is concluded. So thank you. The report will be coming out and be available for people. We'll provide links and such. And again, thank you, Shana, for that powerful story.
Thank you, Dennis. I appreciate that. I appreciate the opportunity, always.
All right, and enjoy that weather,
Definitely will.
Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
And that concludes our session. Thank you, everybody.